Hello knitters, Barbara Benson here. I am an independent knitwear designer who also likes to make videos here on my YouTube channel, Watch Barbara Knit. If you'd like to know more about my knitwear designs, please check in the description below. There you will find a link to my Ravelry designer page where you can see all of the patterns I have available for you to purchase and knit up for yourself. Also in the description below you will find a link to the Watch Barbara Knits Facebook group. We'd love to have you come over and join us where you can continue the conversations that we start here on the YouTube channel. And as always, there's a bonus that you can share pictures on Facebook. So if you feel like coming over, please do. Today, it's the beginning of February, and I have a Fave 5 for you. What is Fave 5? Well, it is where I pick a theme and I go on Ravelry and I search patterns with this theme in mind, and I pick out my favorite 5 patterns at that very moment. Now, I am not saying that these are the absolute only best patterns out there under this subject. It's just what is tickling my fancy, what is catching my attention at the moment I am browsing. Honestly, I could maybe do this browsing a month later and have a completely different pick because there's so many amazing patterns on Ravelry, but that is what I do. It's my Fave 5 right now. And considering the month, I decided to have my theme be my favorite 5 romantic patterns to knit up. And I have varying definitions of what I considered romantic, so you'll have to see. You will catch me looking over here because I have all of these patterns, the Ravelry pattern page, pulled up on my other monitor, so you'll see me looking to the side. I just want to let you know what I was doing there, so let's get going. First off, I decided to be a little bit literal. If it's cold where you are and you want to knit up something for yourself to celebrate our upcoming Valentine's Day, or just something to show somebody that you love them, this is the Evanescent Slouchy hat. And it has hearts on it, but they're not like crazy, like completely literal hearts. They're beautiful cables worked into a heart shape. And what I really like about this pattern is that this heart motif, you can see it runs in that one spot, and then there are twisted cables that run around the rest of the circumference. So it has that one panel of this twisted heart motif and then just plain cables around the rest. And I think that if it had been all the heart cables, it could have been maybe a little overwhelming. So I think the designer, and the designer's name is Joanne Klim, by the way. I forgot to mention that right at the beginning. I think she could have selected, I mean, if they went all the way around, it might have been overwhelming. I mean, it could be cool, but I really like the way this, I think that just having that one and then the other subtle ones really emphasizes the one, and it allows you to wear it kind of off center, and it just looks super cool. Now, this is a slouchy hat, and I like slouchy hats. I did note in the description, though, she says that there is a beanie style that features multiple pattern where the interlocking hearts go most times, and you know what, it looks great. So you know what, it looks great overall, and it looks great just the one panel. I particularly liked the balance and how this slouchy one looked. Now, it is designed for DK weight yarn. It uses size 3 and size 6 needles. The size 3 is going to be for the ribbed brim, and then the size 6 for the body. If you've looked at hat patterns and you didn't notice this, this happens a lot because a lot of people, when they're knitting their ribbing, it tends to be a little looser than their regular knitting because they're going back forth between knit and purl all the time. But also, you want your ribbing to pull in because that's what holds it on your head. So 3s and 6s, it sizes. So we have an adult small, medium, large, and extra large to fit size 20, 22, 24, and 25 inches. So it goes up to extra large. And actually, she has the centimeters listed first. So I'm guessing that this person is not based out of the United States. But it's got all kinds of wonderful things. It has a beautiful, I love this heart pattern. It's not, I like that it's heart shaped, but it's got the cable going up the middle. I just really like it, and I wanted to pick, this is my first one for romantic patterns. The next one I have, going in a completely different direction. How cute is this skirt? This skirt is called tuukka. We're going to go with that, by Becky Herrick. And it's actually from a book that she wrote called Cast Iron Cast On, which is really, I've seen it before. It's super cool because it's a combination of knitting patterns and a recipe that goes with it, which is, I think, super cool. But I thought that this was a very romantic and flirty piece. I love that it has the solid and then the 3 layers of lace that it's just so pretty and sweet, and it's got the little ribbon waistband, and I can just see wearing this, obviously not in the middle of February for most people, but I just think it's a very romantic piece. Let's see here. It is knitted in sport weight yarn. She used Sincere Sheep Equity Sport, which is Sincere Sheep is a really great yarn company. They do like really cool American yarns and use beautiful natural dyes, I believe. I'll have to look up more about that. I've seen their stuff and I really like it. So, but it is again sport weight. US 5 and a US 4 on needle sizes, and the skirt hip circumference is 32, 36, 40, 44, 48, 52, 56, 60, and 64. So everybody can make this skirt, and that's another reason I picked it. It has a very, very wide size range, and I really appreciate it when designers are inclusive like that, because all kinds of people of all shapes and sizes like knitting, and I think that this is just lovely. And in the book, this pattern is paired with a recipe for fresh nasturtium and pea shoot salad. So that sounds tasty. But yeah, women's size extra small through 5X. So that's just amazing. So this tuukka by Becky Herrick skirt, I just think is wonderfully and sweetly romantic. I think the layers sort of evoke like almost a ruffly kind of situation without being in like a Bo Peep tutu kind of situation. Not that there's anything wrong with Bo Peep tutus, because if I could rock a tutu, I would totally rock a tutu. But I just think it's sweet, and I just can see loving wearing this and it being super comfortable and super romantic. Okay, we're gonna move on. This is a frite by Fatimah Hinds, and I picked this one because it is a kind of her kind of thing. You can see in the picture showing it, and I'm gonna read what the designer chose. She said it's unisex but has a unique voice for women and men. And she very specifically designed it so it would work as unisex. It looks like a male piece, it looks like a female piece. Anyone can wear it. And she said a frite is a powerful winged creature from Arabic folklore that can be either male or female, which I think is really cool. And it can be, so you can make the long version, which can be worn long, or you can double it around so it's really big muffler. And then there's a short version that can be worn like short around or as a headband. So it's really, really very flexible. It is designed to work, and I believe it has instructions for 2 different yarn weights. Yes, it has a DK weight and it also has a bulky weight instructions. The headband one, or the white one that's shown short around the neck, that one's in bulky weight, and the longer one is the DK weight. So I just think that is, I thought it was super cool, and you know, it could have been as much and I have to admit, I took this picture. Fatimah is a friend of mine. You will recognize her because she modeled a lot of my pictures. And this is one of her designs. And this is her and her awesome husband. But it's just, I like the idea of a his and her kind of thing that isn't too like blatantly his and her. I mean, those mittens where like both people put their hands in and hold hands are super fun and cute, but I want it to be a little more subtle because, you know, I'm super known for subtle. But I just really like this pattern. I like that arrow shape on it. I also thought the arrow shape, kind of Cupid arrows things, I just think it's romantic. I don't think I have to explain. Well, I do explain. Hopefully it makes sense to y'all. So this is a frite by Fatimah Hinds. I think it's a beautiful pattern, and I really like that it's essentially multiple different patterns. You can make the long one, you can make the short one, you can wear each of them in a couple different ways. It's just great. Now next, this is Petal Drift by Christelle Nihoul. I have no idea if I pronounced that right. I tried. I just think it's got such a beautiful softness, and the flowers, and of course she picked this pink color. I'm sure it would look lovely. I could see it like in a pale blue or something, maybe a peach. It's just beautiful, and it's so romantic to me. Looking at it, I believe that it is knit in the round because it's listed as reversible. I believe it's knit in the round is like a tube that's going to flatten, and you knit it really long and then you bring it around and graft it. And so that's what makes it reversible, and that's what allows you to work in the round going up like this, as opposed to having to go around like this and then fold over. I'm pretty sure it's a back and forth. So it's a narrow tube that when you seam it together, it's worn flat. You don't stick your head through the tube you make. You use your tube to make another more different tube. Am I making any sense? It is stranded color work, which means you're running 2 strands of yarn at a time, but that stranded allows you to have these large voids that you see, and how she goes from like a densely packed pattern to bringing in gently like that scattering of petals and then the whole flowers. I love this piece. You can see all around the other side, you've got stripes, so it's not that intense color work for the entire piece, which I think is great because it gives you the beautiful color work, but it's not like all color work all the time. I just think it's an absolutely beautiful piece. It is knit in fingering weight yarn. You need, of course, 2 colors, and it's on size US 4 and US 3 needles is what she has listed. Yes, scrap yarn for provisional cast on. So definitely it's as I speculated, knit in a tube and then grafted together. And interestingly enough, this one is available in both English and French because the designer is French. So it's in multiple languages. So this is Petal Drift by Christelle Nihoul. And you should go to this one's pattern page and look at the other pictures. It's just so dreamy. And since I said that, I will mention the links to all of these patterns will be in the description notes below, so you can go and check them out. And if it strikes your romantic fancy to knit one of these, go get the patterns from the individual designers. Now, this final one, I decided to include it for multiple reasons. I think it is romantic, but romantic in a very different way from the other ones. This is The Space You Left by Talitha Kuomi, and it is from a book that is a self-published book of hers, and it is a book about knitting through a breakup. And she's a poet, and there are poems included with all the different patterns. And the name of the book is It's Not Me, It's You, which I think is awesome. And I think it's about self-empowerment and about loving yourself through hardship, I think. So that's why I think this is romantic, but the kind of romantic, it's being romantic with yourself, loving yourself, being there for yourself. And I think a lot of us do knit as a form of self-care. That word's thrown around a lot, but I think it's for a lot of us, it's our happy place. And this, I just love this blanket. It is this huge, squishy hug that you can wrap yourself up in, and you need to love yourself. And so romance isn't just about what we think of as typical and stereotypical romance, although that's not bad. It's not. So this is knit in Malabrigo yarn Chunky. So it's a bulky yarn. It's knit on size 15 needles. So if you're gonna knit a big honkin' blanket, big honkin' needles is the way to go. And obviously I was really pulled by pink, and I'm biased because it's February and I'm doing a romantic one. But I like that it's got the pink, but then the darker colors. It's beautiful. It says it's around 1,800 to 2,000 yards. It's a whole lot of knitting. Maybe you can start it now and give it to yourself as a gift for next Valentine's Day. But I really wanted to include this one because it really spoke to me. And I really like it, and it's a different kind of romance, and you should go and check out. Again, there'll be a link in the description below to both the pattern and to the whole It's Not Me, It's You book. And I think a lot of it is, I just love that name of the book. It's not me, it's you. You're the problem. So that is So the Space You Left by Talitha Kuomi is number 5 of my romantic knits to knit this year. Some of them are going to take a little bit longer than the other. And speaking of taking a little bit longer than the other, when I have a pattern I feel fits the theme, I also will show it to you. And you may have noticed this piece behind me. This is actually the piece I released on Valentine's Day last year, and I will put a link in the description below to the full pattern tour for this piece, but it is called Headless Roses, and it is a very large rectangular stole knit on the bias with beautiful, gorgeous lace, if I do say so myself, and it is enormous. It takes over 1,700 yards of light fingering weight, and the reason why I'm not pulling it off of the model is because it is enormous, but it's such a wonderful piece that's incredibly flexible to style. It is called Headless Roses because the yarn color it's Katahdin from Miss Babs, and it's called Yurang, which is from her Addams family. She has a series of colors with Addams family names, and my husband has always said, and I completely agree with him, that the most romantic fictional couple, the most in love couple out there is Morticia and Gomez. So once I saw this color, felt I had to design a shawl for Morticia. And Headless Roses, she's always clipping those heads right off those roses. And, romance works in so many different ways. So this is Headless Roses. And as I said, it's definitely gonna take a little bit longer to knit area, but I just think it's so worth it. I think it's beautiful. So here it is. Those are my fave 5 romantic knits this year. Maybe this inspires you to knit one of these, or to go and look for your own romantic knits to knit up this month. If you like this video, please give it the thumbs up, click that like button. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload a new video, please subscribe to my channel and select notifications. Thank you so much.